Preacher for the day, it will be one of our young adults, Ashley Montalvo. Hi guys. So first, let's open to John 3:16. Okay, so John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, so that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." Lord, thank you for this morning. Thank you for allowing us to be here and for giving me this word that you've given me. Allow your words to flow and not mine, Lord, and that the seed may be planted in whatever heart you want it to be. In your Son's precious name, amen.
Amen.
So in this verse, we see that God gave his perfect and only Son so that we can have life. So Jesus, when he was given up, he suffered quite a lot, actually. They offered him wine with animal puke and perfume in it to cover up the scent of the puke. The Roman speciality was actually crucifixion. It was actually a punishment so harsh that a citizen would only receive it if they committed a crime against Rome itself. Cicero, a philosopher and politician who was widely known, said to bind a Roman citizen is a crime. To flog him is an abomination. To kill him is almost an act of murder. And to crucify him is what? There is no fitting a word that can possibly describe so horrible a deed. Nowadays, Christians want to paint this picture that there's not going to be suffering in following Christ. They think, well, you know, Christ, he was just put up on a cross, and then he died in like 20 minutes, and then he rose 2 days later. That's not how it happened. And he suffered a lot. It was actually legal to crucify a Roman citizen unless he did something against Rome. This type of Christianity is called the New Cross. It actually changes fundamental principles that we as Christians should believe. It gives us, as what people call a family-friendly Jesus. They have changed this man who was he was insane. He ate with prostitutes and murderers. He did a taxpayer that no one liked becoming his disciple. I mean, the man was insane, you ask me, honestly. Instead, it takes out having a relationship with Jesus, which is what we should be having as Christians, and it implements a religion. It implements division. It implements going to church every Sunday, and that's it. That's just the bottom line. John 11:28 says, "When she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, 'The teacher has come and is calling for you.'" This verse is from when Jesus had went to go see Mary because had passed away. When we have a relationship with Christ, when we don't have a religion, but an actual connection, Jesus calls us. He speaks to us. The teacher cannot come and call for you if you don't have a relationship with the teacher. If the teacher does not know you, he does not know your name. And now, of course, yes, Jesus knows all of us because, you know, his Father made us. He knows us from the womb. But he doesn't know us personally. So, I mean, how more beautiful could it be that someone says the teacher is here and is asking for you? But we can't have that if we don't have a relationship. in this new cross, it basically offers what the world has, but they make it spiritually. A.W. Tozer said, "The new cross does not slay the sinner, it redirects him. It gears him into a cleaner and jollier way of life, and saves his self-respect. To the self-assertive it says, 'Come and assert yourself for Christ.' To the egoistic it says, 'Come into your boasting in the Lord.' To the thrill-seeker it says, 'Come and enjoy the thrill of Christian fellowship.' The Christian message is slanted in the direction of the current vogue in order to make it acceptable to the public." So what does this mean? This means that if you are a rich person and you make $100,000 billion a year, it's okay for you to talk about how much money you have as long as you give some to the church. As long as when you talk about your money, you say, "I gave this much to the church," instead of saying humbly and just being, "No, I give tithings to the church. No, it's I give $10,000 a week to the church." That's what that means. It means to the person who is a thrill seeker and wants to go almost kill himself, like the church in Florida with the snakes, it says, "No, it's okay, because Jesus is going to save me, even though you clearly died. And it's no big deal. And Jesus is going to save me from the snake. It's no big deal." And that's what it means. It means that this new cross is meeting demands of the world today. It's not meeting the demands of the Bible. So that's the new cross. Let's talk about the old cross for a little bit. Technically speaking, the old cross means the death of a person. When you are baptized, who you are dies. And when you come out of the water, a new person is born. You're a new person in Christ. The new cross just wants to redirect the believer. It says, "Oh, when you go underwater and when you come back up, just a couple things are going to change. You know, you can still go get drunk every Friday night, but you just have to make sure that you're out Sunday every morning." It makes no sense, if you ask me. The old cross didn't give options, it gave an ultimatum. It's an all for all option. It's not a, "Oh, I'll take this and leave some" type of situation. Luke 14:33 says, "So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all he has cannot be my disciple." The key word here is all. You have to forsake all. Matthew 10:38 says, "And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me." Taking the cross is a daily thing, not a, I only talk about the cross at church on Sunday mornings. Luke 9:23 says, "Then he said to them all, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." Paul said that we were going to be treated like him. He was plotted against, jailed, how many times? Stephen was stoned to death. A poor 18-year-old guy stoned to death. Following Jesus and taking the cross, it is voluntary. You're not forced to becoming saved. You're not forced to accept Jesus. You're not forced to come to church every Sunday. But once you take the cross, it's not an option. Following the Bible and following the Ten Commandments and having a relationship is not something we can choose to do. It's something we have to do. So when someone accepts Christ, he is given 9 gifts and 9 fruits. A spiritual gift is actually a manifestation. And the Greek word for manifestation is phoronosis, which means a shining forth or a showing forth. The gifts of the Spirit are wisdom, knowledge, faith, healing, miracles, prophecy, discernment, speaking of tongues, and the interpretation of tongues. As a believer, you have all of these gifts. All of these gifts are given to us when we accept the Spirit. That's just how it is. But that doesn't mean that you have to be able to do all of these gifts to be a son of God. or a daughter of God. Sometimes in your life, you will only ever be able to do one gift. And it's not because you're not worthy, and it's not because you're not a good enough child. It's just because that's what God chose to give you. There are people who can have knowledge and faith, speaking in tongues, and then there's a person who can only prophesy. And that's okay, because sometimes God will choose to give you the ministry and only one gift or one topic. And then the 9 spiritual fruits are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, whereas God gives you gifts and He gives you callings, the fruits of the Spirit are something that we all have, and we all have to walk in on a daily basis. That part is something that we have to do, not that He has to do. Romans 11:29 says, "For the gifts and callings of God are irrevocable." The fruits, like I said, we do that. But the gifts, that's something that He gives us. God's the one who decides whether we can prophesy. God's the one who decides whether we can speak in tongues or not. That's not something that we do. Nowadays, everyone wants to be a missionary or a preacher or a prophet. I was at work about 2 weeks ago, and I was in the break room, and one of my coworkers was very upset because she had read on Facebook that one of her friends said that not everyone is a missionary. And she was so mad because she was like, no, everyone's a missionary. We're all missionaries in Christ. We can do whatever we want. I didn't say anything, but then I went home and I was talking to Mom about it, and I was like, well, they're right. I know for sure I can't be a missionary. I need a clean bathroom. I need to take a shower every night. I can't go to Africa and not do that. Yes, we are all meant to go out and share the gospel. We're all called to be certain levels of an evangelist. But we're not all meant to be something. We're all different. We're all individual. So just because I don't go to Africa every summer and give vaccines does not mean that I'm not good enough. It doesn't mean that you're better than me or I'm better than you. We're all individual. My mission could be to go to work every day. Your mission could be to go to China. It's all what God decides to do. Matthew 7:22 and 23 states, "Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, casted out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness." If you decide that you want to go be a missionary, or you want to go preach, and God has not given you that calling, and you get to heaven and expect all of these crowns and gifts and everything else, you're not going to get it. Because it's not what He told you. It's not what He wanted for you. I don't want to be up here. I hate public speaking. But because God gave me this message and told me you're going to preach it whether you like it or not, where am I right now? Hallelujah. That's just how it is. Acts 20:24 says, "But none of these things move me, nor do I count my life dear to myself, so that I may finish my race with joy." And listen to this. "And the ministry which I received from the Lord Jesus to testify to the gospel of the grace of God." Key words are, which I received from the Lord Jesus. This is what I mean. He was given a ministry from God. And that is why, even though he went through so many things, I mean, Paul was kind of crazy. He still made it out every night. He still had, he starved for a bit, but he was still healthy. You know, he was still okay. He got out of trouble all the time. He had his Roman citizen card on him all the time. Hey, do what you gotta do. But the point is that because he had this ministry from God, he was okay in the end. If that would have been anyone else who wanted to be Paul, I can guarantee you they wouldn't have made it out of this city gates. Honestly. I mean, come on. So in the new cross, spiritual gifts and fruits are also if the church isn't trying to give them out in like copious amounts, they're trying to box them up into, no, this doesn't happen. No, this doesn't exist. There's even a denomination of religion, of Christianity, that wants to have science in there. They have what's called an apologetic Bible, which is, they sell it in all the Christian stores, and what it has is, at the bottom, it has scientific facts and studies and things that have proved certain passages of the Bible. Like, oh, well, we found water on the top of the Grand Canyon, so that means that Noah's Ark actually happened. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So, and that's what I mean. They want to say that, oh, well, they only prophesize and stuff because back then astronomy was a really big deal, and, you know, they looked at the stars all the time and blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't happen nowadays. They want to just box everything up and say, no, that's not real because only Jesus can do it because he was the Son of God. And that's it. They don't want faith. What they want is proof. And in 2 Corinthians 5:7, it says, we walk by faith and not by sight. Matthew 9:22, as Sada was saying last week, with the woman who was flowing. But Jesus turned around, and when he saw her, he said, be of good cheer, daughter, your faith has made you well. This woman, she was bleeding for years, and she had faith that if she just touched the robe of Jesus, she would be healed. So for women from back then, when bleeding was kind of a, you have to stay out there and not come anywhere near people, have the faith and the conviction to walk outside and say, I just need to touch his robe and I will be healed. Why is it that nowadays, someone coming to you and praying for you and telling you that Jesus told them this is so difficult for a human to grasp? Why is that such a complicated thing to understand? As a Christian, we should have faith at all times. We should believe it. That is what we should walk in at all times. And nowadays, that's not how it is anymore. Now it's like, no, you have to prove to me. If I tell you that I'm going to be there at 6, then you have to prove it to me. Because your word isn't enough anymore. When the Bible clearly states that your words are what bind you. You don't have to promise. You don't have to swear. Just saying that you're going to do it is enough. And now that's not good enough anymore. Now you have to promise. Now you have to swear. Now you have to prove it. Why? If I tell you I'm going to be there at 6, I'll be there at 6. If I'm 5 minutes late, there was traffic. Do you want me to Google map it for you? I'm sorry. And that's the problem. In this church, God has chosen us to walk by faith, to go out blindly by faith and do what we need to do to bring believers in. I mean, we walked around the church for 7 days. I mean, if we're not weird and by faith, I don't know what we are. I mean, we go out there all the time in all of these fairs and things in Caroline, while everyone else is singing, you know, This Little Light of Mine, we're singing, you know, we're breaking chains. You know, everything's going to fall down so that Christ can come up. We're not a normal church. We're not of the new cross. We're of the old cross. We believe in the fruits and the gifts. This church has been blessed with many of them, and we have a youth full of people who can heal the sick, who can pray for someone and make them free of whatever it is that is going on. I mean, Amanda, he was having a panic attack at school, and a 12-year-old had to come and pray for a grown woman. So, I end this message with just one question. Well, technically two. Are you going to walk in faith? Are you going to choose to have a relation instead of a religion? Because without a relationship, you can't have faith.
Amen. Yes. Amen.